Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakudash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone every will, peace, and salutation to the Akim that's preaching his word in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, waking up the hopeful elect and risking their lives and freedoms to do so. Definitely more so now than ever before. This is the Brother Zion Amath from the GMS Detroit by Camp. And this lesson is going to be basically dealing with, health, or should I say more so hydration, right? Which is very important, us being Israelites, right? Us being, as they will say, 70% water, right? It's a necessity, right? To drink water, right? As it is one of the principal things. It's one of the principal things. Water, right? What's that? Let's see, Rob. Sirach 39 and verse 26, hitting the point. It says the principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, right? See how that's listed first, right? Fire, which is fire, to cook your food, to warm yourself in the winter. Iron, right, to cook with. Also, that's a great element to have, to supplement with. You need iron, you need zinc, magnesium, so on and so forth. Marine oil and salt, right? We're gonna highlight dealing with salt as well, right? Basically, in short, you should not be drinking water without salt. In fact, if you're drinking water and not having salt, you're not hydrating yourself, right? That's why you can drink a lot of water and not be hydrated, because basically you need salt, all right, to give the water somewhere to go. In short, I'm kind of butchering and maybe explaining it, but it should all make sense by the end of this lesson. Marine oil, right? Flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape is wine, and the oil and the clothing, right? So we want to highlight chiefly the salt as well as the water, because they work in tandem. You can't have one without the other. All right. Also, given the fact that we're making our bodies, right? Now we make our bodies a living sacrifice. Previously, before Yahweh Shai sacrificed his own body, right, for the nation of Israel to reconcile us, right, back to the Heavenly Father, to restore that friendship, right? We would make sacrifices to the Heavenly Father with, animals, doing animal sacrifices, right? Okay. So real quick, I want to read this. This is Leviticus 2, 1 through 7. Right? It says, that even, a great sea salt. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these salts, they mix aluminum in the salt, right? That's why it's able. That's basically the anti-caking agent. When they speak of that, that anti-caking agent, well, that actual agent is aluminum, and that's why it's able to pour out of the container freely, right? Without that aluminum, it would cake up literally, and be rock salt. You see? But this is the salt you're looking for. Specifically, this one right here, Celtic sea salt, the light grade Celtic. All right. So when you get the salt, it has like a light grayish tint to it, which indicates or is an let's say can be an indicator, because salt is quick to befoul things. But out of brands that I've kind of researched, this is a good brand and this is a good type of the said brand. All right, but it's basically when it's light gray, that's an indication that it is full of minerals. Right, it's rich in minerals, which generally speaking, Celtic salt is just that. It's rich in minerals. It has about 82. Can vary anywhere from 82 to 92 minerals that your body needs, on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So now I have a video that I want to play. Right. This lady, she's basically an herbalist or nutritionist, Barbara O'Neill, and just a quick, clip, but it's very insightful on why you should drink water, or moreover, why you should drink water with salt. So without further ado,
here is the cell. Here is the membrane around the cell. And when you take the crystal of Celtic salt on your tongue, there are 3 magnesiums, and the magnesiums are absorbed by the mucous membranes in the mouth, and so the blood takes it straight to the cell wall. You have your glass of water, and the water pulls it inside the cell. So many people are drinking lots of water, but they're dehydrated because the water is not getting inside the cell. That's the quickest way to hydrate a body. Remember, there's the CBD. So when someone says, I'm drinking lots of water, but I don't want to drink more because my feet swell. I'm just in the bathroom all day. That tells me the water's not getting in the cell. What they need is the salt. Because the magnesium would pull the water inside the cell. So you can drink too much water if you're not having the salt. Here is the if you're not having the salt. Here is the.
So that's that. And it's as simple as that. So when you're drinking water, right, even with your water, it shouldn't even be necessary to guzzle down, 32 ounces of water and all that, like in one go. That is 20 ounces of water. You should be able to drink maybe 8 to 16. I dare I say 8 to 16. I want to say maybe even 8 to 12, and that's plenty in one setting, mind you. You're gonna have water throughout your day, but you should be having maybe really 4 to 8 ounces at a time, throughout the day. And when you drink your water, when you have those 4 to 8 ounces, you want to have I just showed you here, right? You just want one granule, right? One little small rock. That's all you need, right? You take that one little small rock, put it on your tongue, right? Like you said, let the mucus membranes basically break that salt down, right? Break down the magnesium, compounds and all that, and then have your water. Don't put the salt in the water, because salt itself, which is rich in magnesium, and magnesium is basically it it basically dissolves in water, so you don't get the full benefit that you would versus having them separate. It just breaks down in the water. If you were, I'm gonna just put the sea salt or the Celtic salt in the water, like, no, that's not what you want to do, right? Because you're not reaping the full benefits of the salt working with the water. So again, you want to take one rock, one granule, right, of salt, put it on or under your tongue, let that break down, then drink your water. You'll come to find out that you've never been hydrated before, right? That's the realization you should come up with, right? Outside of, maybe, juicing or eating fruits, because, your fruits, they have 3 parts hydrogen, which H3, 3 parts hydrogen and 2 parts oxygen. So you can be hydrated that way as well. But essentially, again, we all need water. So you take that one little rock granule, right, of salt, and with that being said, you can see this bag of salt. I think this is a 1 pound, 16 ounces, right? At that pace, you'll have this salt for quite some time, right? You just have a rock, one granule at a time, like it ain't going nowhere soon. So it's a great investment. It's about $9 to $10, and you can properly hydrate yourself of having the salt and then having the water. You know what I'm saying? And you'll come to find out that different aches and stiffness in your body is going to be alleviated, right? She mentioned about people that may have, water, their legs, retain water at their feet, or their feet hurt from standing. You know what I'm saying? And it's due to the fact that you're not hydrated. You may have back spasms. What is it? What do you call it? Sciatica. Pinched nerves, this, that, and the third. A lot of it, as crazy as this may seem, it's just due to the fact you're dehydrated. And Esau, the devil, the physician of no value, right? He's not gonna, share these things and teach you, right? And break down the science of why things work and why you should do certain things. All they had to do was, you have this problem, we'll take this drug. You see? Because this is society that's full of, witches and warlocks by way of sorcery.